Okay, we're live. Welcome to the Top Producer Show. And I say we're live. I know we're already live on Facebook, but I've got another one. Hey, Al, how are you doing? Got the instructional guide. We're going to go into law number 3 today of John C. Maxwell's 21 Laws of Leadership. If you have never heard of these 21 laws, grab a pen and a piece of paper. It's probably some stuff you want to write down. If you've ever tried to build a team before, put anybody in business with you, definitely some important stuff. I have the all-important 5-hour energy drink to make it, most people, they're halfway through their day. This is usually when I start my day about 11:30. Why do I do that? Because I worked out in California or with people from California for so long, I just adopted their hours and schedule. And what that allowed me to do is it allowed me to skip morning traffic. It allowed me to skip most of the morning bullshit that's online. What people hate and what they dislike and how they pop their tire in the morning and all the other garbage that people put out there. So I get started about now. I work for a couple hours and then I'm able to go grab lunch. And the beautiful thing about grabbing lunch at 2:30, 3 o'clock is nobody's there. It's like 100% just me, and there's no lines. It's great. I go back to work. I work through where most people are driving, where most people are fighting traffic, where most people are having dinner. And then when I wrap up and I go out, it's the end of the night for most restaurants and places if I'm out, and that works out pretty well too. So that's my life, my story. And what we're going to do today is go over law number 3. The 21 Laws of Leadership was a book written over 20 years ago. It's John C. Maxwell's Bible to leadership, I think is actually physically what he calls it. The Bible of leadership. And these are the things that you need to know if you want to build an organization. Hi, Lisa. If you want to get to the next level, if you want to get things done. So we've already gone over the first 2 laws. The first law is the law of the lid. The second law is the law of influence. The Law of the Lid talks about 21 characteristics of a leader. Really good book. You also want to get that. You also want to read that. Hi, Stephanie. This one is specific to the law, today is the Maxwell philosophy is leadership is learned over time. Leaders are always learners. It's going to take time. So this is the law of process. And this law is terrible to learn, and the reason being is because it takes time to learn and it takes time to refine. When I first got into direct sales, one of the first things that I was told is you kind of start chipping away at all of your problems, all the things you're not good at, and it takes a while to get to the heart and get to the bottom of some of the things we're just not good at. So developing, hi Jessica, hi Yolanda, what it's going to take is it's going to take you really doing a heart-to-heart with all the things you need to improve. And most of us think we're fine. When I first read this book, I thought I was fine. I actually thought this book was stupid. I thought I didn't need it, and I actually closed it and threw it away. I didn't throw the book away. I just threw it on a shelf like the rest of my books, and I never read it. Now, 80% of the stuff behind me that you guys can see, I actually do read. Hi, Sherry. So here's what we're going to go into. The law of process. Learning the law of process. Leadership develops in a day, or daily, not in a day. Meaning you can't learn everything you need to know about leadership in one day. Even if you do an intensive with John Maxwell, he even says, guys, this takes years to figure out. He was a pastor for years first, and then when he went out and started actually teaching this material, it took him years to build up to, the stadiums. It took him years to build up to the thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars charged. By the way, he now earns in excess of $125,000 every time he does a speech. That's what his speech fee is, $125,000, and that we're talking about not including the cost of getting there, not including being put up, not including the food. And I'm sure he's pretty demanding with his time because time is all we have. And as he said, he's 70 now. Hi, Jackie. Hi, Michael. How are you? Hope things are going well. So, leadership is like investing. It compounds. So if you start learning about leadership and if you start doing these principles, what happens is you have to keep doing them and keep doing them and keep doing them. And it's like, it's like a piggy bank. Eventually you want the piggy bank to be at the top. But you have to keep adding to that piggy bank every single day. You can't just throw some in once, throw in one book and expect it to rise to the top. You have to consistently deposit money. And how you deposit money, hi Carrie, hi Donald. How do you deposit money, or how do you deposit leadership skills? Leadership skills are learned by 2 things. First of all, learning the leadership skill and then doing the leadership skill. You're going to learn more by doing than you will by reading, but you won't even know what to do until you read about it. That's at least how I was. When I read the book, The 21 Laws of Leadership, the first time, I didn't even know. Hey, JD, how's it going? I didn't even know that, leadership had anything to do with making money. And that's what I was all about. I was about making money. I was about making things happen. I was about earning. But I didn't know that it had so much to do with leadership and being able to lead people and being able to understand what to do and what to say. So how do you learn the law? One of the things he says is subscribe to leadership-based training. There's a bunch of leadership-based training out there. That's something that I'm putting together simply because I'm now building an organization again. I run a traditional business. We have a real estate company. I get my doctorate in June, and then we're running this company. Hey, Ben, what's up? So we're getting a lot of stuff. Hi, Shar. We're getting a lot of stuff done, and one of the things I knew I needed, hi Shane. One of the things I knew I needed so much in life was basically training, daily training. So what I did is I started reading a book. Hey, Bob, how's it going? Get through the 21 Laws yesterday. Yeah, on Audible. That's another good one. To be able to listen to it again and again. But what I did is I started subscribing to reading once a day. I read 15 pages to 20 pages. I usually read a chapter of the last book. Let me find it. Maxwell's Guide, 101. There's, I think, 7, 8 books in this one. Attitude, Relationships, Equipping, Leadership, Mentoring, and Success. So this is the book that I've actually personally been reading and getting through, and I get through about a chapter a day. As you can see, this thing it's a little thick. It's like 459 pages, but I read about a chapter a day. So that's one of the things I do. The second thing is engage in a program where you're learning leadership constantly. Hey, Adam, what's up? I saw your pictures on your trip, Adam. I don't know if you guys were on a cruise or where you're at, but it was really, really nice. While everybody was on spring break, like Adam, I was at Walmart looking for crap that I needed. So that's just how it works out. Obviously you're doing well. And I believe you're in the mortgage business, and we should talk at some point on a totally different subject. So, living the law of process, 5 phrases to leadership. I don't know what I don't know. So that's how you're going to come into this. You don't know what you don't know about leadership. When I first read the book, The 21 Laws of Leadership, and somebody first told me about this, I didn't even know it existed. I didn't know leadership was a thing. This is just my own personal thought. I thought that certain people had leadership qualities because people just automatically liked them, because of the neighborhood they grew up in, because they looked good, or they wore certain clothes, or they drove a certain car. Hey, Shane, how's it going? I thought that's the reason. Hey, Terry. I thought that was the reason why people liked and people followed them. I had no idea that leadership is a learnable thing. Hi, Terry. When I found out leadership was a learnable thing, I was like, wow. When I found out leadership had everything to do with your ability to affect people, your ability to build a business, your ability to basically do everything you're doing in life, I was like, I need to learn more about this. And then I started reading about it, and then I got really upset. And I got really upset because I realized I didn't have most of these qualities. When I read the book, The 21 Laws of Leadership, the first time, I realized I had 3 of the qualities, and I was really good at 3 of these. And the other 18 I didn't even know existed. And if you don't know those leadership qualities even exist, guess what's going to happen to you? You're going to be in trouble. And you're not going to like it. I mean, I was really pissed off most of the time when I was reading this stuff, simply because I realized I lacked all these different things to be able to do things I wanted to do. And it also pointed out why I wasn't affecting people the way that I wanted to, or why I was negatively affecting people. I was like, well, why are people pissed off? Why do people react like this? It was me. I was like, man, it seems like every company I'm in, I've had these problems. Well, guess what the only common denominator is, doofus? It was me. And I didn't realize that. Hi, Tracy. How are you? I caught some of your show, Tracy, by the way. It's awesome. You said it's frozen. I don't know. That's probably I'm actually taping this on another place, so if it ever freezes and doesn't come through, I've got it taped, so it'll be on YouTube for later. But these 21 laws, getting back to the law of process, I don't know what I don't know. I know that I need to know. So that's what I came to the position inside of an organization about 10 years ago, is I realized how important these things were. Once I built the business to a certain point. Once I had a certain number of people coming at me asking me questions, at that point I realized I have to know this stuff. And that was really scary, because then I was like, well, I have to know this stuff and I don't know it, and nobody's going to fill in the gap for me to do it. So guess what I have to do? I personally have to go out and learn it. And that was terrible, because I'll be real honest, I wasn't a good student. Imagine that. I wasn't a good student. Although I learned quickly, I hated sitting and just waiting and, learning things slow. I hate slow. If you slow a process down for me, I'm like, I'm out, I'm done. That's unfortunate, but that's just how I learn. If you go too slow in any training, I've got to go through real estate, because I have a real estate license and a real estate brokerage as well. I've got to go through continuing ed, and I'm like, can we please speed this shit up? I've got to sit through these boring, slides where they time them out 30 seconds, and I can read it in about 7 seconds, and I know the answer half the time, and now I have to sit here through this bullcrap because somebody said that, the information wasn't important. It's how long it takes to take the information. Like 12 hours. No, it's not 12 hours. It's how much information's there. You need to know this stuff. It doesn't matter how long it takes to get through it. But that's just me personally. I have my own flaws there. I know what I need to know, and I don't know. What is your plan for growth? So that's what really the law of the process. Hi, Amy. That's what really the law of the process is about. Can you put together a plan where you can put this stuff together and learn it? What I started doing is I started reading a book a month. What I started doing is I started listening to audios every single day on leadership. Specifically, I started learning from John Maxwell, and then I started, kind of veering off to Simon Sinek. I started veering off to Seth Godin, because there's a lot of people who actually can teach leadership skills. I started looking at people who are leading big companies, and, some of the people I liked a lot, and some of the people I didn't like so much, but what I try to do is, regardless if I like the person's personality or not, or I necessarily like their company or not, what I try to do is I try to learn something about leadership from every single person. Sometimes it's just what's bad. I was like, ooh, that's bad. I don't want to do that. Oh, I don't like how that person comes across. I don't want to do that. So I'm constantly in a position. Yeah, Ray Higdon's another great one. Very good leader. Very great teacher. Wow. One of the best I've seen when it comes to just the basic skills. I actually became part of something he was doing. And still am. And every once in a while, I'll chat with him, have a conversation. I was like, hey, I see you're in Hawaii today. That's great. I know he's getting his house finished and moving in. Giant house, actually, crazy. Here's what's next. 4. I know when I grow and it starts to show. See, when you start really reading this stuff and really learning it, people will actually tell you. They're like, wow, you're so different than you were before. Or, they'll see you handle something, and that's when I knew that I needed help. Somebody came up and says, well, I wish I could lead like you. And I was like, what the hell are you talking about? I didn't even know that I could lead, or that I was leading. That's how scary, that was how much I didn't know about leadership. I didn't even know I had risen where people were following me inside of one of my companies. That's why I was like, it freaked me out, because my production was basically outperforming my knowledge of what to do. Which is kind of good. It's good that, I was able to work that hard. But here's what happens when your production outperforms your knowledge of how to hold an organization together. The organization will crumble. And you'll rebuild it over and over and over again until you learn that lesson. So that's just, that's fear, a little warning. You might want to learn this stuff. I simply go because of what I know. And that's John Maxwell's kind of at one of those points where he's able to write book after book. He's able to do seminar after seminar. He's able to affect person after person. The reason why is because he's learned this stuff. Hi, Heather. He's learned this information. He's learned it well. He's been able to help people all across the world. Now he works with countries. Countries invite him in to share with the political structure, leadership skills. I think everybody could use a little of that. So how do you live the law? Here's the first thing is, what is your plan for growth? The law of process is all about, what is the process of me growing? I'll give you one of the things I got from Darren Hardy. Darren Hardy said when he wants to go learn anything and he wants to really get good really fast, hi Kai, here's what he does. Number 1, he goes out and buys the top 5 books. Hi Jessica. He'll go out and buy the top 5 books. Now this is Darren Hardy. If you don't know who Darren Hardy is, he's kind of like hi Joe. He's like the the top guy that came out of Jim Rohn's organization. He worked with Jim Rohn directly. It was affected by Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn said that this guy was the top student he ever had. Tony Robbins is another student of Jim Rohn. So if you're going to be in a good category of students, Jim Rohn had some of the best students in the world. Tony Robbins, and then this guy, Darren Hardy. Darren Hardy wrote a book called The Compound Effect. But if you watch some of Darren Hardy's videos about leadership, about training, what he said is if he wants to learn any subject, he'll go buy the top 5 books in the area. So if you were to buy the top 5 books inside of this industry, inside of leadership specifically, the 21 Laws of Leadership is going to be one of them. Developing the Leader Within You is another. Everybody Communicates and Everybody Connects is another one. I'm just trying to think what are my absolute top 5. The 15 Laws of Growth and Winning with People. Those are probably my top 5 Maxwell books because it probably is going to lean more towards you working with people and understanding people, because the more you understand about people, the more you're able to affect people. I should probably write that down because that sounded good. So number 2, plan and reflect daily. One of the things John Maxwell has done in his entire life is at the end of the day, he sits down and he asks questions. Now every morning he does 5 things. He said he reads, he writes, he files, he asks questions, and he thinks. So obviously he'll read something, he'll think about how it affects, these different things, and he has this list of questions that he goes by. But he said every day he does these 5 things. At the end of the day, he reflects on what he got done. And what he's done is he's set up his life so that way he gets up super early in the morning, so that way he can actually work on stuff for the first 3, 4, 5 hours without anybody even being awake. I chose the latter of that. I chose to stay up late. So because what I realized is between midnight and 3 o'clock, most people aren't calling me. Between midnight and 3 o'clock, most people aren't trying to get a hold of me, trying to figure stuff out. Now lately it's been kind of crazy because people have. But normally that's my time where I'm able to work and reflect. Now, I work really well at night. John said he doesn't work well at night. He kind of, goes down. He works really well in the morning. So you just have to pick your timing. But the key is, what are you doing? So back to Darren Hardy. Darren Hardy buys 5 books. Then he'll buy 3 audios and he'll go to 1 seminar. 5 books, 3 audios, 1 seminar. He said if he wants to learn anything. Now here's what's interesting about the population. If you want to become good at anything, because a lot of people are like, well, how do I become good at what I'm doing? How do I become good in my subject area? Here's what John and many people have said. Hi, Eric. These simple things. Number 1 is if you read 3 books in any area, you're smarter than 80% of the population in that specific subject. Now, the 3 books have to be about one subject. But if you read 3 books on any one specific subject by well-known, well-known people in the industry, professionals in the industry, you need to read 3 books and you'll be smarter than 80%. Hi, Rhonda. You'll be smarter than 80% of the people in that specific area. I mean, imagine just being able to turn it on just like that. 3 books, I mean, if you wanted to, you could read 3 books in a week. You could read 3 books in a weekend, if you wanted to. And all of a sudden, you're smarter than 80% of the people you're having, you're having conversations with. Now, if you want to get to 10 books, you're probably smarter than 90% of the people in the industry. The only people you're probably not smarter about in the industry are people that have dedicated their life to doing whatever they're doing. Now, Gladys Maxwell wrote a book called Outliers, and in Outliers it says if you want to become an absolute expert in anything, what you have to do is you have to study it for 10,000 hours. If you study anything for 10,000 hours, if you put 10,000 hours into anything, you will become an expert at that thing. How do you do that? That's basically 40 hours a week for 5 years. 40 hours a week for 5 years is going to add up to 10,000 hours or approximately. And at that point, you're going to be an expert in that field. How do you speed it up? Work more hours. Work more hours at it. Start studying more. Start reading more books. Start learning more stuff. Be around people. Be around the experts in the industry. And, everybody's like, well, I just can't get to any of them now. With YouTube, there's no excuse. With the YouTube, I mean, you can get online and you can learn from the best people in the world 24/7. Instead of watching, a rerun of Lost or, some other ridiculous-ass TV show, start watching a YouTube video, something inspiring. And here's the thing. I didn't know where to go when I first was learning about, personal development and leadership skills. So get with somebody that's leading a team and ask them, hey, what are the 10 most important things? Start seeking people out that you respect online and say, what are the 3 most important videos you've seen about leadership, or you've seen about business building, or you've seen about networking, like whatever your field is. Read John Maxwell's Today Matters. That's another one. What will I commit to today? So what John says is you want to find the 5 things that affect you the most. I found that reading, number 1. I found that listening, number 2, or watching videos, those 2. I found that actually doing the work and being around, and actually running an organization, that's one. Those are like the top 3 things. But here's the 4th one. Get a coach. Find somebody. Get a coach or a mentor. A coach is usually somebody you're going to pay a bunch of money to, and they're going to ask you questions. A mentor is somebody who actually has done it, and who's going to do some of the coaching, but they're actually going to give you tips along the way. What to do, how to do. I found that that's extremely helpful. I've found mentors along the way inside of the different things that I've done, inside of direct sales, inside of building a holistic health practice. I found mentors inside of, now that I'm going on and learning more about holistic health, learning more about naturopathic health. I found mentors inside of that I've connected with online, that I have conversations with, like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? I just had a conversation with a friend of mine who's a physician about branched chain amino acids and how they affect the cognitive thought and your ability to function at a higher level. So you want to seek out these professionals where you can ask questions and just commit to some stuff every day. Affecting leadership. One of the things I did, and this is going to help everybody here, and this is how we're going to end here in 2 seconds. I started putting out positive content every day online. Positive content, anything that's good. I will not put out garbage. I don't care whose brothers, sisters, uncles, nephew slept with, changed colors, changed races, changed everything. I mean, just people are just so insane online. I'm like, I'm going to keep it positive. I'm only going to put out stuff that's funny. If I think it's funny, it's not offensive. I mean, some stuff is offensive, so I try to really tailor that. But I put out positive messages. Sometimes they're harsh, but I try to put out positive messages, stuff to get people to think positively. I don't engage in the news. I don't engage in social garbage. I don't engage in the social norm, for sure. And I just put out things that are fun. And what that does is I found that attracts more to me. So that's part of the process every day of putting out stuff. Help people develop from the inside out. It's easy to change the outside. I can help you go buy clothes. I can, you can do makeovers. You can do hair. You can do all those things. But what people are doing is they're dying on the inside and they look great on the outside. I mean, that's not a good plan. Long term, that's definitely not a good plan. So what we want to do is we want to affect people from the inside out. Number 2, the bigger on the inside you are, the bigger on the outside you are. Some of the people who may have the smallest frames have the most energy and the most effect. Look at, hi Gino, if you look at Mother Teresa was like not even 100 pounds, but her effect on people, Gandhi, his effect on people was just absolutely amazing. So, look more to the inside than the outside. And then the secret of our success is discovered in our daily agenda. Your DMO. What is your DMO? Your daily method of operation. What are things that you have to get done every single day to affect the world? What are things you have to get done every day to affect yourself? And what I can say is Jim Rohn's quote, work harder on yourself than you do anything else. If you work harder on yourself than you do anything else, you'll be able to affect and help more people. So that's it. That's what we're going to do and wrap this up today is the law of process from John Maxwell. How do you use this in direct sales? Work on your craft every day. Have a plan every day to affect people. I send messages. I send quotes. I'll congratulate people every single day for accomplishments they have. The smallest accomplishment in the world. Hey, I know you just watched that video. Hey, I know you just read that book. Hey, I know you just presented to somebody. Congratulations. Is there anybody that we still need to talk to? Sending a text message or a quote or anything to people. Just stay in front of them. Hey, you're important. You're important to me. You're special. Somebody's thinking about you. Sometimes that's just what people need during the day because, you can isolate yourself with all the technology we have, it's crazy, but people can isolate themselves very easily and think there's nobody out there for them. or there's nobody out there to help them or communicate with them. People can feel really alone. So just reaching out and sending positive messages consistently, make that part of your daily process, and you'll be amazed at how well it affects not only your friendships, but also your business life, and pretty much everything else. Because my feeling is the more you give, the better things work out. I don't necessarily say the more you give, the more you get back, but the more you give, the more positive things I think you'll see happen. So with that, guys, I appreciate everybody. We're going to go over law number 4 tomorrow, the law of navigation. It's one of my favorites. It's one of the ones that I kind of started figuring out early. So look forward to everybody being online tomorrow. Thanks.